Ling Zhen stood motionless in the midst of the bleak, silent forest. The trees, gnarled and ancient, seemed to observe him with their twisted branches, their silence thickening the air like a suffocating fog. Even the birds had ceased to sing, and the wind felt reluctant to stir. The figure before him, a man cloaked in ragged, dusty robes, his face shadowed by a hood, had not moved. Ling Zhen's instincts screamed that this was no chance encounter. His heart pulsed with a strange recognition, like the faintest whisper of a long-forgotten melody. The figure seemed to exist in perfect stillness, but Ling Zhen knew that under the surface it was only the calm before a storm. "Who are you?" Liang Zhen's voice broke the silence, his words feeling strange, coming from a body so young, so untested. The cloaked figure's lips twisted into a half-smile. His eyes, when they met Liang Zhen's gaze, held a cold gleam, a gleam that sent a tremor down the depths of Liang Zhen's spine. "Does it truly matter who I am?" The figure's voice was a rasp, like the rustling of dry leaves. "Perhaps it is more important who you are, or rather who you were." Liang Zhen's pulse quickened, a dark memory bubbling to the surface of his fragmented mind. Who he was. He could remember nothing but flashes, shattered memories that seemed to slip through his fingers like water, faces blurred by time, a golden throne shrouded in mist, a crown of power that once rested upon his brow, and the whispered word, betrayal, that echoed in his ears like a mantra. His brow furrowed, his voice low but steady. "I am Liang Zhen, the silent immortal, the one who defied the celestial decree." At the mention of his name, the figure's eyes widened, an emotion flickering across his face, a mixture of surprise, recognition, and something darker. "The silent immortal," the man repeated, his voice laced with mockery. "It seems the heavens are not finished with you yet, are they? To think I had heard tales of your fall. The celestial court has not forgotten you, nor have the remnants of the past." The celestial court. The name itself sent a jolt through his spirit. Liang Zhen clenched his fists, as if the very sound of it could ignite the flames of his former wrath. "I've paid my price," he replied, his voice growing colder, "and I've seen what awaits those who defy them. But you, why do you know my name?" The cloaked figure remained silent for a long while, his eyes narrowed as if deciding whether to speak or not. The tension between them thickened, the silence almost unbearable. Finally, the figure spoke again, his voice soft, yet carrying an edge of something ancient, something far older than Liang Zhen's own fractured memories. "You are not the first to come here, silent immortal," the man said slowly, as if savoring the words. "And you will not be the last." Liang Zhen's eyes narrowed. "Where is here?" The man raised a hand and gestured toward the forest. "The mortal realm, but it is different now, as are you." His smile faded, and his gaze turned piercing, almost as if reading into the deepest recesses of Liang Zhen's soul. "A piece of you remains, broken, fractured." A shudder ran through Liang Zhen, as though the man's words had struck a chord within him, one that resonated with an unfamiliar pain. He closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the weight of the words to settle into the very marrow of his being. "I remember only fragments, pieces of my past life, but they're scattered," Liang Zhen confessed, his voice barely a whisper. "What happened to me? Why am I here?" The figure let out a low, almost melancholic chuckle. "Ah, you remember little, don't you? But then it's no surprise. It has been so long since you were the one you once were." He stepped closer, and as he did, something shifted in the air. A subtle distortion, as though the world itself recoiled in fear. The figure was no longer simply an observer. He was now part of the very space around them. "You were bound to the void, your soul torn apart," the man continued, his voice dropping into something darker, something far more intimate. "The celestial court cast you aside, a broken weapon no longer needed. And yet, Here you are, returned in a new form, reborn into this world that has long since forgotten the meaning of balance. The air around them felt colder now. Liang Zhen's chest tightened. The memories, the ones that had been eluding him, started to resurface like splintered shards of glass cutting through the haze. "I know the pain," the figure said softly. "The torment of a soul left in pieces. The curse of immortality that traps you in time. It is not enough to live. You must remember what it means to feel again." "Feel?" Liang Zhen repeated, his voice hollow. "I remember nothing of feeling, only the weight of eternity, the years, the suffering, the betrayal." The figure's lips twisted into a faint, bitter smile. "The celestial decree that binds the world. It has twisted the very nature of your soul. It fractured you. And now this mortal shell you inhabit, it is not your true form, but perhaps if you can remember, you may find the path that leads back to your power." Liang Zhen's heart raced. Power. The word echoed in his mind, reverberating like the call of a forgotten song. The figure's gaze grew sharp, his voice low and filled with a strange intensity. "The crown of sovereignty, it is scattered. The pieces of your past are scattered, lost among the ruins of time. You will need them to regain what you have lost. And yet..." He paused as though weighing his words carefully. "There are those who will stop at nothing to ensure you remain weak. They fear what you might become." Liang Zhen felt the stirrings of rage deep within him. "Fear. They fear me." "What must I do?" he asked, his voice now stronger, more resolute than it had been since his rebirth. The cloaked figure stepped back, his eyes glinting in the fading light of the forest. "You must remember who you were. Find the pieces of the crown, but beware, for not all who seek them wish you well." The figure's voice dropped to a near whisper. "And remember this, silent immortal. The celestial court is still watching. You may be reborn, but the price of your defiance has yet to be paid in full." With that, the figure turned and began to walk away, his form vanishing into the darkness of the trees, leaving Liang Zhen standing alone in the heavy, oppressive silence of the forest. A heavy weight settled upon his chest, a burden he had carried for countless lifetimes. He was broken, but not beyond repair. The fragments of his soul were scattered, yes, but not lost. The time had come,